The news anchor's voice crackled through the static. All energy defenses have failed. The Zorathans' armor is impenetrable. Colonel Harper snapped off the TV eyes, burning with determination. He grabbed his old military jacket. "Looks like it's time for some old-school tactics," he growled, heading for the door. Colonel Harper sat in his dimly lit living room, the flickering TV casting eerie shadows on the walls. News reports flashed across the screen, showing scenes of cities in ruins and panicked civilians. The Zorathans had arrived, their invasion swift and brutal. Harper's hand tightened around his old military dog tags, a relic of a bygone era when wars were fought with grit and steel. All energy defenses down. Repeat, all energy defenses down. The anchor's voice crackled. Their armor is impenetrable. Harper snapped off the TV, his mind racing. The Zorathans' energy-absorbing armor rendered Earth's advanced weaponry useless. Despair was palpable, but Harper's thoughts drifted to the past. Kinetic weaponry, solid projectiles, relics of earlier wars. Could they be the key? He grabbed his phone and dialed a familiar number. "Colonel Bennett, it's Harper. We need to talk. It's about the old weapons." A pause, then Bennett's skeptical voice. "The museum pieces?" "Harper, those won't." "Just listen," Harper interrupted, urgency clear. "Their armor absorbs energy. We need something they can't counter. Kinetic weapons could work. We need to mobilize every scrap of old tech we can find." Hours later, Harper met with Bennett and other retired officers in a dimly lit warehouse. Maps and schematics were spread across tables. Harper explained his plan, passion and desperation in his voice. "We don't have the luxury of skepticism. The Zorathans will crush us if we don't adapt. We start with museums, scrapyards, anywhere we can find old tanks and artillery." Bennett nodded slowly. "All right, Harper. We'll give it a shot." The team assembled quickly, a mix of engineers, mechanics, and former soldiers. Harper briefed them in the shadow of a decommissioned tank. "We're going to salvage and retrofit these old beauties. It's not just about weapons, it's about showing those aliens what human tenacity looks like." They split into groups, scouring military museums and scrapyards. Harper led a group to an old army museum. He watched as engineers carefully extracted a rusty tank, its metal groaning in protest. They towed it back to a makeshift base, where mechanics worked tirelessly to restore it to operational status. "How's it looking?" Harper asked one of the mechanics, a burly man with grease-streaked hands. "She'll run," the mechanic replied with a grim smile. "Might not be pretty, but she'll fire." In another corner, a team was refurbishing artillery pieces, their faces set with determination. Harper moved among them, offering advice and encouragement. The air buzzed with a mix of apprehension and resolve. The first test came at dawn. Harper watched as a refurbished tank fired a projectile at a mock-up of Zorathan armor. The projectile slammed into the target, piercing it with a satisfying crunch. Cheers erupted from the team. "It works," Harper murmured, a fierce grin spreading across his face. "We might just have a chance." As the sun rose, Harper gathered his team. "We've got a long road ahead, but today we've taken the first step. We're going to hit the Zorathans where it hurts. They think we're weak, outdated. Let's show them the strength of humanity lies in our resolve, not just our technology." With resolve burning bright, they set their sights on the horizon, ready to turn the tide of war with the weapons of the past. The moon cast a cold light over the abandoned scrapyard, the silence punctuated only by the occasional clank of metal. Colonel Harper, flashlight in hand, led his team through the maze of rusted relics. Each step was a journey back in time, a testament to humanity's forgotten wars. "Over here," Harper's former lieutenant, Sergeant Jenkins, called out, his voice echoing in the night. The team gathered around an old tank, its once proud hull now covered in grime and weeds. Jenkins chuckled. Good thing we don't need new. We need effective. They set to work, hauling the tank out of the mire. Nearby, other team members unearthed artillery pieces, their wheels creaking as they were pulled free. The air was thick with the smell of oil and rust, a stark contrast to the high-tech, sterile environments they had grown accustomed to. At the makeshift base, engineers and mechanics worked tirelessly to restore the old machines. Sparks flew as welders sealed cracks and replaced corroded parts. The air buzzed with activity, the sound of clanging metal and the hum of generators filling the night. Harper moved among his team, offering guidance and encouragement. Remember, these weapons are our lifeline. Treat them with respect. They may be old, but they're our best shot. Anna, the team's lead engineer, wiped sweat from her brow. Colonel, the engines are in better shape than I expected. We might actually pull this off. Harper smiled, a rare sight. Good work, Anna. Let's get these beasts roaring again. Days blurred into nights as the team worked around the clock. Harper barely slept, driven by relentless determination. His mind raced with strategies, planning their next moves, ensuring every detail was perfect. One evening, as they tested the refurbished artillery, the team gathered to watch. The first shell fired, whistling through the air before striking a distant target. The explosion lit up the night, a brilliant display of firepower. Cheers erupted from the team. Harper allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "We've got our edge back," he said, pride evident in his voice. The success of the tests bolstered their morale. Harper called the team together for a briefing. "We've done great work here, but this is just the beginning. Our first engagement is crucial. We need to prove these weapons can turn the tide." Jenkins nodded. "We've come this far, Colonel. We're ready." The next day, they loaded the tanks and artillery onto transport trucks. The journey to their first battleground was tense, each member of the team acutely aware of the stakes. They traveled under the cover of night, avoiding Zorathan patrols. Arriving at a small town under siege, Harper quickly assessed the situation. Civilians were being evacuated, their faces etched with fear and desperation. Harper's heart tightened, but he focused on the mission. "Positions," he barked. The team moved swiftly, setting up their artillery, preparing the tanks. As dawn broke, the first Zorathan ships appeared on the horizon. Harper's voice was calm, but firm. "Hold your fire until my command." The Zorathans advanced, their energy weapons cutting through the air. Harper watched, waiting for the right moment. Now. The tanks roared to life, their projectile shells tearing through the sky. Artillery followed, a symphony of destruction. The Zorathan armor, so impervious to energy weapons, crumpled under the relentless barrage. The invaders faltered, taken aback by the unexpected resistance. Harper's strategy was working. His team's efforts had paid off. The convoy of refurbished tanks and artillery rolled into the small town under siege. Smoke billowed from burning buildings, and the air was thick with the acrid scent of destruction. Colonel Harper stood on the turret of the lead tank, eyes scanning the horizon. He could see the Zorathans, their hulking forms advancing, their energy weapons blasting through the town's meager defenses. "Positions," Harper barked into his radio. "Remember, they don't know what's coming." The tanks and artillery pieces were strategically positioned around the town, hidden behind debris and in alleyways. The team moved with purpose, their movements a blend of urgency and precision. Harper knew that surprise was their greatest ally. "Ready the projectiles," Lieutenant Chen called out, loading shells into the artillery. His hands moved quickly, each motion precise and practiced. "Harper, they're closing in," Ana's voice crackled through the radio. She was perched atop a makeshift lookout, binoculars in hand. Range, 200 meters. Hold your fire, Harper ordered, his voice calm and steady. Let them come closer. The Zorathans moved with frightening efficiency, their energy blasts tearing through anything in their path. Harper watched as one of their beams struck a building, reducing it to rubble. His heart pounded, but he held firm. Steady, everyone, he said. We only get one shot at this. The Zorathans were within 100 meters now, close enough for Harper to see the shimmering energy fields protecting them. He took a deep breath. Fire, Harper commanded. The sound of the artillery was deafening. Shells streaked through the air, their trajectories true. They struck the Zorathans' armor, and for a moment it seemed as though nothing had happened. Then the first Zorathan fell, its armor pierced by the kinetic force. One by one, the invaders began to drop, their shields useless against the old-fashioned projectiles. Direct hits, Chen shouted, a mix of relief and triumph in his voice. Keep firing, Harper yelled. Don't let up. The team continued to unleash a relentless barrage. Tanks rolled forward, cannons booming, shells impacting with deadly precision. The Zorathans tried to regroup, but the humans pressed their advantage. Harper, more incoming from the east, Anna warned. They're sending reinforcements. Harper quickly adjusted his strategy. Chen, redirect 2 tanks to the east. Anna, guide their fire. We can't let them flank us. The battle raged on, but the tide had turned. Harper's team fought with a ferocity fueled by the knowledge that they had found a way to strike back. The Zorathans, caught off guard and unable to adapt quickly enough, began to retreat. Fall back. One of the Zorathan commanders bellowed, his voice tinged with desperation. Regroup at the rendezvous point. The human forces didn't relent. They chased the retreating aliens, ensuring their departure was a rout rather than an organized withdrawal. When the last of the Zorathans had fled, Harper called for a ceasefire. The town, though battered, was still standing. The team gathered, their faces marked with exhaustion, but also a newfound hope. We did it, Chen said, wiping sweat from his brow. We actually did it. Harper nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. This is just the beginning. We've shown them that humanity won't go down without a fight. Now, let's get these people the help they need and prepare for the next round. Harper stood at the edge of the command center, his eyes scanning the bustling activity below. Factories and workshops, once dormant, now thrummed with energy as humanity united to mass-produce kinetic weapons. The success of their first engagement had sparked a global resurgence of hope and determination. Colonel, the first batch of refurbished tanks is ready for deployment, Lieutenant Chen reported, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Excellent, Chen, Harper replied. Coordinate with our allied bases and get these units where they're needed most. As Chen moved to execute his orders, Harper turned to his assembled team, engineers, mechanics, and former soldiers, all driven by the same unyielding resolve. They had become a family forged in the crucible of battle. Listen up, Harper called out, his voice carrying over the din. We've proven these weapons work, but the Zorathans won't make it easy for us. They'll adapt, and so must we. The team nodded, their expressions grim but determined. Harper continued, We'll be advising new recruits and leading missions against key Zorathan targets. Stay sharp and remember what's at stake. Days blurred into nights as Harper's team traveled the globe, training soldiers in the use of projectile-based weaponry. Each mission brought its own challenges, but the team adapted swiftly, striking Zorathan positions with precision and ferocity. The human forces, bolstered by their newfound advantage, began reclaiming occupied territories. During a mission briefing, Chen approached Harper with urgent news. Sir, Intelligence reports a major Zorathan stronghold near the Pacific Rim. It's heavily fortified, but if we take it down, we could cripple their operations. Harper studied the map, his mind racing. We'll need a coordinated assault. Hit them hard and fast before they can regroup. Prepare the railguns and missile launchers. The team mobilized quickly, their preparations honed by countless battles. As they approached the Zorathan stronghold, the tension was palpable. Harper's voice crackled over the comms. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves, but for every human on this planet. Let's show them what we're made of. The assault began with a barrage of railgun fire, their hypersonic projectiles slamming into the Zorathan defenses. Explosions rocked the enemy fortifications, and the air was thick with smoke and debris. Harper's team advanced, their projectile weapons cutting through the alien armor with deadly efficiency. In the midst of the chaos, Harper spotted General Exalor, the Zorathan leader, directing his troops. Harper signaled to Chen. Target Exalor's position. We take him out. We break their chain of command. Chen nodded, relaying the order. A volley of missiles streaked through the sky, homing in on Exalor's location. The explosions that followed were deafening, and Harper saw the alien general fall, his armor shattered. With Exalor down, the Zorathan forces faltered. The human troops pressed their advantage, pushing the invaders back. Victory, hard-won and bittersweet, was finally within reach. As the dust settled, Harper surveyed the battlefield. The cost had been high, but they had succeeded. The Zorathans, now leaderless and demoralized, retreated from Earth, their once mighty invasion force in shambles. Humanity celebrated, but Harper knew the fight wasn't over. They had won a crucial battle, but the war would continue. Standing amidst the wreckage, he reflected on the resilience and ingenuity that had brought them this far. Colonel Harper, Chen called, approaching him. The Council wants to commend you for your leadership. Harper shook his head. This victory belongs to all of us. We've shown that no matter how dire the situation, humanity will always rise to the challenge. And for now, that was enough.